Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to our English class. Today we're gonna have a class about English language syntax. So this is me, your teacher, Sebastian Rodriguez, and today we are gonna be talking about the syntax of English. But first of all, we're gonna have a short introduction about what we are gonna be talking about. Then we're gonna talk about the parts of the speech. We're gonna be focusing in three parts. That's gonna be verbs, adjective, adverbs, and then we're gonna have a conclusion. Of course, we're gonna have a practice time to check, to review if you got the information right as I want you to learn. So let's gonna start with the introduction because today we have a general concept, a main objective. That is, being with a brief discussion about the importance of understanding the parts of the speech in building strong communication skills. Then I'm going to introduce you the 8 parts of the speech that we have: the nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. We're going to have a short explanation about that, and then we're going to be focusing in the specific adjective, that is to identify how to use the verb, the adjective, and the adverbs correctly in a sentence, taking into account that the different meanings that they can have in a conversation. So, it's gonna start with the parts of the speech. Here we have the nouns. Basically, when we talk about nouns, we're talking about places, we're talking about persons, we're talking about things or ideas. For example, a dog can be a noun. New York is a place. Well, a dog is an animal. Love, that is an idea. Well, in this case, it's a feeling. Something like that. Then we have the verbs. That is the action or the state of being. For example, run, is, sing. These are examples of verbs that we can commonly have in our daily life. Then we have the adjectives. That we use the adjectives, of course, for describe nouns. Remember the nouns: places, persons, ideas, etc. etc. So we have adjectives like blue, tall, happy. We can have sadness. We can have another kind of adjectives that you can look, that we are gonna be talking about that later. Then we have the adverbs, and the adverbs can describe both the adjective or other adverbs. For example, the most common strategy to identify an adverb is that the suffix that most of these adverbs have, that is, they end with the words li. For example, quick, that means, in this case, rápido. When we want to say that something was done in una forma rápida, we can say that it was done quickly. That means rápidamente. Then we have very, then we have loudly, that these are examples of adverbs. So, okay, let's gonna continue. Because then we have the pronouns. The main objective or the main work that have the pronouns is to replace the nouns. In this case, we are replacing people. Example, he, she, it, like that. Then we have the prepositions that show that a relationship between words. For example, on, in, under. It's gonna continue with the conjunctions, that is to join words or group of words. For example, and, but, or. And then we have the interjections that spread that this is used mostly for express strong emotions. For example, while, out, as we have here, as you can see in the screen. So, the focusing parts that we're gonna be talking today, that we're gonna be discussing. First of all, the verbs. We know that the verbs is a part of the speech that denotes an action. As we were talking before, jump, dance, swim, but it can also refer to the state of being. For example, exist, become, fear, all an occurrence, something that happens. Then we have the adjective, that is, that the adjectives are church of describing nouns and subject pronouns. So, but an adjective can give both a positive or a quality or a negative quality of the corresponding noun or subject pronouns. The point of this is that the main work is to describe. Then we have the adverbs, and as we were talking, before, an adverb is a part of the speech that describes verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. And as I was telling you, most of the adverbs in English are derived from adjectives, and they use the suffix "ly" as the main feature. Now, what do you think if we have a practice time? Yeah, here we have a sentence. The fat cat eats quickly. Let's gonna move to another page. Here, this is Jamboard, and here we're gonna be writing the parts on each space of this chart. So let's gonna start. The fat cat eats quickly. In this case, if we want to talk about verbs, we have to say that the verb is eat, right? Eat, because this is the action that someone, or in this case something, is doing. In this case we're talking about a cat. The noun, what will be the noun? The noun, of course, will be a cat. And then we have the adjective. We have to look for the word that is describing this noun. In this case, we are giving a physical description about the cat, and we refer to the cat as a fat one. And the adverb, the most easiest word in the sentences, because as I told you, here we have a word with the suffix "ly", and in this case is quickly. So we are talking that something was done quickly. So here we have the parts, the different parts of a sentence that we can find in English: the verbs, the nouns, the adjective, and the adverbs. Now we have another part, we have another practice part, and here you have to write if in the description you are talking about verbs, about nouns, an adjective, or adverbs. So you need to write down the description in each blank space, right? For example, let's gonna start with the first one. Here we have, it says, this word describes how we do something, the way that something is done. So here we're talking about what? About adverbs. That's right. Okay, the second one. These words such as swim and run demonstrate actions. An action, we are talking in this case about a what? Of course, we're talking about verbs. The next one, this word describes an object, a person, or a place. What do you think that will be the answer in this blank space? Of course, a noun. And then you have the other examples to continue doing your work. This is to improve your understanding of this topic, because this can be sometimes this can be a little confusing, but if you continue practicing, you can do it better if you continue. So then we have the first part, and this is the last one. In this case, you have to choose what? Which word match better in a sentence. So for example, I'm gonna do the first one. My cousin sings. Beautiful or beautifully. In this case, here we have an adjective and an adverb. So I have to identify what is the main intention or the purpose of this word and the sentence. We gotta take into account the context, and we're talking about that my cousin sings. I'm not describing the way that he is doing his sing. I'm describing how he sings, and in this case I am describing. So I can say that my cousin sings what? Beautiful. That's right. So in this case the word is beautiful. The second one, the hungry or hungrily dog ate quickly. Look at this. Here we're saying that what are we doing here? We are describing something, or we are describing the way that something is done. That's the difference, because in this case I'm describing a noun, the dog, and I have to say that the dog is hungry. Okay, let's gonna continue with the third one. The famous sing or singer dances very too well too. What would be the answer in this case? That's right, the famous singer. And then we gotta continue. The small baby crying, loud or loudly? So guys, this is for you to practice. This material is gonna be open for you. This is gonna be free. This is all for this class. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope that the explanation was clear for all of you. And if you have any questions, you can tell me. This is me, your teacher, Sebastian Rodriguez. Thank you so much. See you in the next time. Bye bye.